capes, and conundrums. "Stop trying to flap, it's only making things worse," Silicon says to the distressed Sonir. Unfortunately, due to the fact she's distressed, a civilian, and in pain, she's not listening. "Calm down, calm. I said calm down." The civilian girl had dive-bombed at them and had tried to veer away too late, used Axiom in an attempt to not crash into them, and channeled it improperly, which strained her wing badly. So now they had a screeching, panicking, and annoying civilian girl on their hands, interrupting the entire event. "Ambulance is a minute out for the silly thing." "I'm not silly," the girl protests, and Pavel shakes his head. "Hurting yourself is one thing. Fighting the people trying to help you after you hurt yourself is another thing entirely. One is unfortunate. The other is just stupid." Pavel states as she struggles again and screeches, "He's hurting me!" "I'm stopping you from flapping around and injuring your wing further," Silicon states as he struggles to keep the silly girl from hurting herself. "You've strained the ligaments in your left wing. It's not broken, but you can't fly on this." "I'm a Sonir. I have to fly." "You're a person. You can rest and heal," Silicon says. "You've gotten hurt, and if you try flying off, you'll fall and hurt yourself further." "Thank God this will be over soon," Pavel says as the ambulance swoops over. "The hell is going on?" the paramedic demands as she opens the rear door. "She's hurt her wing but is still trying to fly. She's going to kill herself if she does." "I'm fine, it's just a bit of pain. Let go of me," the Sonir girl says, and Silicon then finally lets her go, and she snarls at him before backing off. "I'm going to go to the hospital, and if you try to slander us in court, well, we have body cams. They show you swooping at us, pulling out too late and crashing. Then it shows you trying to fly with an obviously hurt wing." "I'm fine," the girl insists as she holds out her wings, but can't fully extend one of them. "Then extend them both. Right now," Pavel says, and she pauses. "Young lady, please extend your wings," one of the medics says. "No. Please come with us. You're clearly hurt." "But," the girl protests, but in no time at all the girl is bundled into the ambulance and flown away. "So, is the event cancelled?" one of the girls who had arrived asks. No," Pavel says as he puts a hand on Silicon's shoulder and both vanish in a teleport. "A bit of warning next time," Silicon says. "Sorry, anyways, grab a seat and a snack. The last part of this event is just them finding us, not a fight," Pavel states, and Silicon nods. "So why didn't you help with the girl?" "Because a high-powered weapon left unattended around a panicking civilian is a bad idea." Pavel answers easily as he reaches into a cooler next to a chair and then slumps down into it with a drink. "Want one? Is that alcohol?" "No, caffeine and sugar water. Nowhere near as dangerous," Pavel says as he slides the cooler over with a foot, and Silicon looks through the selection. He settles on a root beer. "So, is it going to be a problem that girl spotted us and screwed up her swoop?" "You know the answer to that," Pavel says, and Silicon frowns and considers. "But she could have... Wait, no. The win is to find this safe house. The clue to the actual safe house is that it's in an area and there have been no camera sightings of us, which means only very specific routes can be taken, which means it wasn't a case of them spotting us, it's them not spotting us, but they just saw us teleport, so that will ruin some of the thought process." Silicon reasons out. Good point. They saw us teleport so we wouldn't lead them back. Hang on, I'll update everyone about this," Pavel says, setting his drink down and pulling out his communicator. "It is kind of cheating for them to have no idea where we are and think that teleportation is on the table," Silicon says with a smirk. "That it is. And updated. Informing everyone that only a single teleportation was performed during this event, and that was due to outside interference." How would a mercenary sniper taunt? A little voice message, "Excuse me a moment," Pavel says, before bringing the communicator up closer to his mouth. I bet good money you haven't caught sight of me, Batman, but you've been in my sights all night, he says before sending. Silicon smirks. The fact that it's only late afternoon means what? Not much of anything. We're in a cave. It's always night here. Pavel dismisses. But that could be confusing. Because of course, villains never lie, never get things wrong, and never say anything misleading. And if they go too far down that rabbit hole, they might start doing some weird things. Believe me, people can and will jump through every logical loophole they can find in order to justify their behavior. Rabbit hole? Have you been checking out human literature? No, but I've been overhearing and translating the occasional English conversation around me. It seemed the proper place to use the term. I assume it means that going down a rabbit hole is a descent into insanity? Kind of. In a book that was mostly expressing frustration with a new type of math, an author had the main character go down a rabbit hole that brought them to Wonderland, where things were wondrous but nonsensical. Not so much madness as things stopped making sense. Wait. Isn't one of the Batman villains all about that book? What's it called again? Alice in Wonderland? The Mad Hatter, yes. He uses mind control technology to commit his crimes and obsesses over his Alice kidnapping and brainwashing girls to serve the part. Later, darker, and to be frank, disgusting, interpretations cast him as a pedophile. But I think that's more comic authors trying to grab attention or some truly deranged idiots projecting their own mental issues onto the page. Ew! Actually, I saw a lot of that. There's a few points where some villains, especially the Joker, go completely off the deep end. He went from a clown-themed criminal into a psychotic lunatic with a vague clown theme. That seemed more like overcorrection after shaking off the moral busybodies gagging the creativity of the comic book industry. Followed by a game of one-upmanship by the next writer, then the next for who could make the villain the most villainous. Seems to be. I prefer the Joker, when he's just a crook with a gimmick, not some nihilistic examination of the inner darkness and blah blah blah, as someone uses a freaking comic book about a man dressed as a bat to try and navel gaze. Silicon laughs as he sips at the root beer, clearly thinking, so, how long do you think we'll be here? There's a bathroom, and the chairs fold backwards into some pretty decent beds. That long? Oh, who knows? A lot of people use sheer brute force to make up for a lack of cognitive ability or as an excuse to avoid actually thinking about things. Why bother with living healthily when you can just take a nap and everything's all better? Why bother being safe when anything shy of dead can just be wiped away? You make it sound like you don't like healing comas. The idea is astounding. Immortality is an amazing thing to have, but it has side effects. People aren't growing up. People aren't thinking. The mind and the body both need to be exercised and put under strain if they're going to be worth a damn. So having all of life's problems solved for them has made much of the galaxy, at least in prosperous and distant space, to be pretty lacking when it comes to the people. Well, even here in frontier space, the well-established cities are pretty safe. Still, complaining about safety and security seems a little... not really, I don't know how to put this. It's a problem I thought would be solved in some way. And I guess in a way it has, with people able to build homes and lives on the frontier and beyond as much as they want. But that's just pressure release for the energetic and enthusiastic. It does nothing to help the calm and placid beyond getting the energetic and enthusiastic away. But of course, that pressure release can also be a problem, and... Please stop! You've worn out my capacity to philosophize already. Good grief! Pavel laughs at that before smirking. All right, how about a game of smash or pass? Of what? Silicon asks. One of us describes a species, and then we both say whether they'd be willing to have sex with it. Then we say the name, have a chuckle, and then switch who's describing things. Okay, I'll start. Silicon says as he takes a sip and then grins. They're very aggressive, small, and move in massive numbers. They may be herbivores. Pass, Pavel interrupts. I'm not done yet, you asshole. Silicon says, tossing his empty drink can at Pavel, who watches as it soars overhead and lands with a clatter. Anyways, they may be herbivores, but they're also amazing cooks and have been known to break famines. Smash. For the love of God, Silicon mutters. I'll pass myself, but that's because they also have a tendency to dogpile their partners. The Charbiz are dangerous little ladies. Aren't those bee-girls? Yes, but saying bee-girl would give it away in a hurry now, wouldn't it? Silicon says as he digs out another soda. Now you go. They are very fluffy. Sometimes. Sometimes? Sometimes. They have a whole system where they're outright on the prowl for the best husbands possible by their own standards. And if you impress them but refuse to be married in, they'll declare you adopted or tag you and your descendant for being potentially seduced in the future. Smash. I'd smash a Takra too. Never mind. Pass. Those girls are crazy. Pass. Hard pass. I want to live. I'm too young to die. And too pretty. Silicon jokes before suddenly sitting up straighter and then starts reading off the list of ingredients on the soda can. Good grief. No wonder I'm getting hyper. It's your turn, Pavel reminds him. All right, we've had Charbiz, we've had Takra. This next girl is unfairly considered stupid as a species, despite being easily as intelligent as everyone else. They're big and strong, so even though they don't want to live up to their stereotype as brutes, they... Spider-Girl, pass, Pavel says. Damn, I should have avoided the word brute, but I'd smash, there's a whole lot of women there. Okay, I got another. They're a very versatile and dangerous species. Quick on the ground, but flight capable. The only way to disarm them is by taking the term very literally, and while there is the occasional sickness in the species, they are generally content to live peaceful, productive lives. Smash or pass? Pass. I don't like the idea of someone taking a weapon into fun times. Silicon says after a moment of thought. Smash. A snicked girl's blade arm is just an extra hint of danger in the fun. Pavel says, and Silicon considers it. Yes, I can see you doing a giant bug. All right, my turn now. She's covered in... Silicon begins before a red light flickers on in the safe room. Both men immediately quiet down and watch it with intensity. Since it stays on, they both quickly gather some things and get into proper position for what's coming next. As the door creaks open with a hushed whisper outside, both men tense at the ready, and then as it's flung open, they set off party poppers as numerous cameras flash. Congratulations! You found the safe house and solved the case. Pavel congratulates the Sonir, who are screaming in shock as they were not expecting the explosion of glitter, streamers, and camera flashes. You scared me! The lead Sonir accuses and Pavel laughs out loud. Sorry about that, he says while clearly not being sorry at all. Now, what do you girls want as a prize? A big wet one, one of the girls in the small crowd exclaims. Nothing sexual, Pavel returns. All right, first, how about we see the proper badges to prove you're on the case legit? Silicon asks as he reaches under a table and pulls out 2 cases of different prizes. For those with the badges, you get 2 choices of prizes and 1 universal prize that goes with all of them, which is a comic that's been printed out showing Batman solving this very case, doing what you did today. Granted, he had to fight Deadshot at the end, but this was a puzzle event, not a battle event. There's a cheer as the girls crowd into the room and the cases are opened. On one side is a Nightwing-style mask that's been designed with a Sonir's facial mechanics in mind, the other, a scuffed pistol bracer to act as a trophy for taking